and welcome back. I hope the week 2 was productive. We talked about value proposition and market research during the 5 days of the week. And today we're getting into the masterclass to get into the details of what is value proposition, how do you derive value proposition, and tools and tricks for conducting your market research. So I hope this masterclass will help you enhance on the idea what you are working on. And next week will be interesting because we'll be getting into business modeling. But this week, let's focus on value proposition and market research. So if I have to ask the first question, what is the most important part of an idea? I leave few seconds for you to think. Is it the idea? Is it the way you make money? Is it how you sell, how you package? What is it the most important part of the idea? To give you the answer, the most important aspect of any idea is identifying your ideal customer. Yes, that is the most important and the most difficult part. All of us think that if I have a path-breaking idea, how do you define a path-breaking idea? How do you know that this idea is going to make it big? How do you know it's going to work big? How are you going to address all these things? The most important aspect is identifying the person or the individual you're going to sell your idea to. It can be individuals, it can be businesses, it can be anyone. But who is your ideal customer and how do you identify that person? That's the most important aspect of an idea. Now, coming back to the whole aspect of why do you think is identifying the ideal customer is important? You have different products for different segment. Let me take two simple examples. One, all of us know Toyota makes the best cars you can ever drive in terms of reliability, in terms of longevity. That's why Toyota is known as its brand. And they play around with the price range of about $30,000 to $60,000 in the US, or if it's in India, the most luxurious car today in India touches over a crore. But let's look at the base things what common people can buy, which is not more than about 30 lakhs. Now, when Toyota wanted to get into the bigger market, wanted to hit the luxury market, they couldn't sell a car over $100,000 because people have the perception that Toyota makes affordable, reliable cars. But when you go into the luxury market, if you want to make extra money, the whole perception should change. So Toyota brought out Lexus. I'm sure you must have heard about that. The full form of Lexus is let us sell luxury to the US, right? So that's how Lexus was born. And that plays a very different game together, and the target customers are different. The people who are driving the Lexus are different. They wanted to make a statement for themselves, hence the Lexus. Now, there is another company called Tumi, which is now acquired by Samsonite, which sells backpacks, which started about 13 years ago. I think 2010, 2011 is the time frame when they started. They sell backpacks and laptop bags. Now, in those days itself, the bags used to be upward of $200, and today they have bags which go up to $3,000, $4,000. Now, do you think students are going to buy a $200 or $300 backpack? In India, the backpacks start at about $35,000 to $40,000. Do Indians or anybody, for the matter of fact, buy a backpack worth that? Their ideal customer is not that. Tumi is an aspirational brand. So it started with people using Tumi products as a mark of quality and reliability, which runs for a long time. I still have a bag which I bought way back in 2012. Nothing goes wrong with it. Yes, in one way, it's a pain because you can't change your bag, but if you want to take it on the long run, nothing to beat that backpack. So now coming back, the ideal customer profile for Tumi is not the students, it is the office going personnel, which adds style and also class to the bag, what they're going to carry the laptop in. And similarly, Toyota is not selling a normal Toyota car to a normal person, but it's making an aspirational brand called Lexus, which will make you feel more comfortable or richer or class, whatever term you want to make out of it. So that's the difference between identifying your ideal customer profile. Now, if you start advertising a Tumi bag to college going segment, you will not be able to sell. And also you can't sell a couple of things to high-end people. Now, Tumi luggage is fantastic, but why do you think Remover exists, right? Remover is much more expensive than Tumi, at least 4-5 times expensive than Tumi. Their ideal customer profile is different. Why I'm bringing all these examples, or why I'm talking to you about these things, these companies, is how they look at the advertising, how they look at the branding, how they look at the messaging. We will go through all these things through this masterclass, but these are the things which go around when you want to start selling or when you start conceptualizing your idea. It's very, very important for you to identify your ideal customer profile so that your thought process, the way you solve the problem, the way you address the problem, the way you bring the product into the market, the way you message it in your communication or the marketing campaigns changes everything for you to sell. If you have an amazing product but selling to a wrong audience, it is not making any sense. You're going to only bang your head over it. But if you can identify the ideal customer profile, it also enables you to start rethinking on what kind of product and how are you going to build the product for yourself and to sell. Now, when it comes to these aspects, it is very important for you to identify your target customer and start looking at how you're going to message. Now, going on to the next one, how do you demonstrate value? After you identify your ideal customer, then you start thinking of the value proposition of how you're going to communicate. Now, I'll give you a small example. There are many two-wheelers available in the market, but why should you go for one kind of a two-wheeler and why your neighbor should go for another kind of a two-wheeler? Everybody has their preferences, and the companies will target their advertisement for the potential buyers, and whichever feature you want to pay, you pay. The latest and the best example I'll give you between Samsung Fold 6 and the Google Pixel Fold Pros 9, whatever is the series number. If you look at, both of them cater to two different audiences, but their ideal customer profile is same. How? I'll tell you. Now, on a Samsung Fold, you don't get a stylus along with it, but you can buy the case along with the stylus and you can write on it. But on the Google Pixel Fold Pro, you cannot write on it, but it gives you a better display, a bigger screen, and the front is as big as a regular Google Pro phone. But on the Samsung, it becomes a little more slimmer. Their ideal customers are same, who are the people who are wanting to buy a foldable phone, but the features which come along are totally different. Now in Google, the Gemini AI is much better than the Samsung, but still both of them are doing an amazing job in terms of giving or bringing technology to your fingertips. Most importantly, for people who are wanting to buy that phone, these people are either wanting for a bigger real estate, they want convenience of a recording, they want convenience of a writing, They want various kinds of photography aspects which go into it, lot of things which go into it. So here the ideal customer profile is same, but the messaging is different. So end of the day, it's your pick as to what is more important. For me, for example, I would prefer a stylus to write on, but I have a lot of challenges with Samsung phone itself in terms of writing, because there are no apps which sync between various environments. So this is not a tech review, but I just brought that example of, this is the most recent example what I can think of, which makes more sense in terms of looking at the ideal customer profile and communicating your value proposition and speaking with your potential customer. Now, Rolls-Royce, does it justify the price tag they have for the car? Yes, they do have, because they are demonstrating value through the reliability, the luxury, the comfort, and best of all, when you buy a Rolls-Royce car, no two Rolls-Royces in the world have the same color. Even if you are the same customer, you want to buy the same car, they will change a little bit, but they will not give you the same color, because every Rolls-Royce which exists in the world has a different color. They demonstrate value in terms of luxury. But if you look at other companies, I mean, again, let's go back and look at Toyota. For them, it is the reliability and the number of trips you take to the garage. For them, if that reduces, that's the value what they're communicating to their products. You can rely on a product, you can rely on an engine to run over 100,000 miles or 200,000 miles or like 10 lakh kilometers or 5 lakh kilometers, and you still have no problem in using a car. Swiggy in India, for example, is a delivery app, and they demonstrate value in a very different way. They appeal to all. For them, any person who goes to a shop to eat or to buy, goes to a restaurant to eat, is their ideal customer profile. And when they started very simple. They said, you sit in your house, open our app, order, and we'll deliver it for you. Over a period of time, they also started bringing high-end restaurants. So they have now categorizations. I mean, a quick eat or a snack or a high-end restaurant, the same kind of ambience what you get in terms of the food presentation, you get it, except for the packaging part. Even the packaging, they do a very decent job when they deliver the food for you. So everybody has their own value. Now, do you think Rolls-Royce has no market to exist? No, they have the market to exist because they provide a different kind of value. Toyota has a market because they provide a different kind of value. Two-wheeler companies, each one provides a different kind of value. Swiggy provides a different kind of value. So everybody has a value to the product what they are selling, and identifying your target customer is the most important aspect. I still remember one ad and one line. Ferrari is for people who aspire, and Lamborghini is for people who are already there. So that's the difference. The messaging, how you message your product to the end customer, identifying your ideal customer. Now, both Ferrari and Lamborghini are looking at the same kind of people to sell, but Lamborghini works in a different fashion and Ferrari works in a different fashion. So why I'm talking about these examples are because these are the examples which become very easier for us to relate to, because these are things what we keep looking on everywhere. Print media, you open YouTube, you open Instagram, you see a lot of kind of products which come in, and everybody has a different message for their ideal customer profile. So first thing is identify your ideal customer, then understand how you need to communicate. You need to speak to them in their language or in their persona and their emotion, and that gets connected much faster. All right, moving on. Today we will look at three aspects. What's value proposition? How do you identify value proposition? And how do you do market research? These are the three things what I'm going to talk about in today's session. The importance of identifying value. So I talked about identifying the ideal customer. Now we need to focus on identifying the value. Then we need to understand how do we communicate the value. And last but not the least, we will also look at few market research tools and techniques before we end the session today. What is value proposition? Here is my take on this. The tougher is the problem to solve, the higher is the value proposition. And in no way I'm demeaning anything. I will contradict my statement myself. For example, Swiggy is a very, very simple problem to solve. In terms of solving the problem, it is easy. But when it comes to execution of the solution, it becomes very tough because there are a lot of moving parts. If you technically look at it, Swiggy does not own anything which is happening outside their platform. They only own the tech piece, right? The app is the only thing they take care. The second thing is partners who are available to do the deliveries, right? That's them. I will not call them their employees. They work for Swiggy for the commission. That's about it. They're not regular salaried employees who get end of the month a basic minimum salary. But what comes back is Swiggy becomes very responsible for ensuring allocating the work to people who are on the platform to ensure everybody is equally paid or all equally taken care of. Tips is not in their hand. So that's the whole thing. Swiggy does not own restaurants. Swiggy does not own hotels. They don't own the chefs. They don't have anybody, any kitchens on their platform to cook and deliver food. So for Swiggy, the idea is simple, but execution is very difficult. Coming back to my statement, the tougher is the problem to solve, the higher is the value proposition. So for Swiggy, they need to bring all these people together to ensure that their ideal customer, which is you and me, who are placing an order on their app, get the best experience. Now, most of us have gone through the experience of cancellation or food delay or delayed delivery, whatever. These are not in their hands at all. If the restaurant doesn't give the food on time, then they can't do, and they have to take the blame. And we immediately give a bad rating to Swiggy, and that's how it works. So it's a very, very tough problem to solve, even though it looks very easy for us when it's in the execution phase. Now, for even in your case, whichever idea you're looking at, idea might be simple. Look at how you're executing. Every business, the toughest part is the execution. You take a manufacturing unit, they have to source raw products from around the world or around the country to bring their product together, package it, and sell it. Now, if any of their inventories don't work, or they take time to come, or the timelines are not being met, it's a huge setback for them in terms of delivering their end product, right? So, look at what is the problem you're solving and how tough or how easy it is to solve the problem. So, the tougher is the problem to solve, the higher is the value proposition. Let me demonstrate this with another example, which is Uber. So Uber looked at 4 problems. Long wait times. So Uber was born few years ago back in the US. So it's basically wherever you are. If you are in not a big city in the US, it's very difficult to get a taxi because predominantly everybody has cars, or you have to call a number and then they'll send the car and things like that. If it's big cities, you need to wait for the cab. You see somebody, you hail a cab, and if he's busy, he will not turn up, and you don't know how long you have to wait to get your cab. The next one is unavailability. As I mentioned, smaller towns, if you go into the US, it's very difficult to get a taxi. So many a times it's unavailable. And even in the big cities during peak hours, cabs are unavailable. Pricing is another problem. Somebody might ask something else and somebody else might something. Why? In India, let's take an example. Earlier, it was standard cab rates wherever you want to go. That guy was dictating how much money you should pay, either from the railway station or from the bus station. But after Uber and Ola came, things have changed drastically. Now they compete with them, but instead of us going to them and asking how much do you charge, you can actually, now it's a different, it's easier because you can see it on the app and see how much is the pricing coming to. So that's a different aspect. Now Uber and Ola also don't own any of the cabs or the drivers. It's the number of people who are available on the platform, and they have to manage the workforce. So unavailability, pricing, and last but not the least, the safety. So Uber took these four things into consideration, and they started addressing on that. Convenience: open our app and make a booking. You know what our cabs available are in your locality. Time for the cab to arrive is the reliability. I'm going to tell you how much time it's going to take for the nearest cab to come and pick you up. So that's one information they're solving for the customer. Transparency. You don't know the city, the driver is taking you for a ride, he can go anywhere. But what Uber does, it shows the fastest way and the safest way to reach the destination, and you can see it in your Uber app, and also the driver can see. So you have the transparency of the location and how which route you're taking. Safety: drivers are rated by the consumers, so you know what is the feedback given by other users of that particular drivers, and it becomes more easier for you to understand how good or how safe is your driver and the cab. And last but not the least, you don't need to be bogging down for cash in your pockets. You can pay through card, you can pay through any means on this on their app. So that's how the Uber translated the problem statement into the value proposition, and they started selling. And you know the history of what happened till now. Even now, they have ventured into a lot of other aspects, but the cab hailing app exists anywhere. So for me personally, Uber works very well because I put in my card details, and anywhere in the world, I don't even need to think of finding a cab. Open Uber app, just book and go, and goes through my card. That's the convenience, and best part, they're available in almost every country in the world. Now, going back to an Indian example, Swiggy. What is Swiggy's value proposition? The time, limited choices, effort, and rating. These are the four things what Swiggy is trying to solve for us to get good food. Now, time taken to go and bring the food. So for example, in the morning, I feel like having a breakfast. I'll have to go stand in the line, or if the restaurant is crowded, I have to stand in the line. Otherwise, wait for him to pack and then bring it back and then unpack and then eat. Second, because of this, I have limited choices. If I look at my surroundings, I don't want to go far in the morning. So I just go to my nearest breakfast place, pick up something and come home and eat and then leave. So now the choices are much more broader because I can order from anywhere and I know how much time it's going to take. If I'm in a mood to wait for half an hour, I can order from a favorite restaurant which is about 10 kilometers away. It doesn't really matter. And I don't need to put in any more effort. I'm sitting in the comfort of my house and I'm placing an order. The restaurant prepares the order, packs it and brings it back to my house, which I can comfortably eat and leave. And coming back to the quality of food, you can always look at the ratings of the food which the other consumers have given. So you decide what you want to try and how you want to try it. And those ratings are not dictated by the app, but it's predominantly focused on what people are giving the feedback. So look at the value proposition of these two organizations. One, Uber, a global company, one, Swiggy, a local company, and how they've translated the problem into a solution and what they're telling the consumer. We'll come back to their communication a little later. Now, the next part of the masterclass is, or the next question which usually people have, how do I identify the value proposition? Now, identifying the value proposition is as simple as it looks. If you understand what the problem you're trying to solve and how you're solving it and what's the end result to the customer, very easily you can translate itself. But if you have difficulties, I want to share three tools for you to look at. Now, Value proposition canvas. Now, this is not something mine. I will give the link in the description. You can go to Strategizer and download the PDF for this particular diagram. So value proposition, basically what Strategizer says is break it into three parts: gain creators, product and service, and pain relievers. So basically you read it the reverse way. The product and services, and look at what are the gain creators and what are the pain relievers. When you look at it that way, it becomes much more easier. So if you look at our Swiggy or Uber example, product or service, is let's say for example Uber, product and service, they have an app for hailing a cab. What are the gain creators? Gain creators, you can look at it two ways. One, you can look at it from an organization standpoint, how you can make money, or you can look at the consumer way, right? And pain relievers are what actually are you solving for the money you are taking from the consumer. And that becomes, gain creators become the gains, pain relievers become the pains, and what are the customer jobs, right? So look at it from that perspective. For example, for me, my job in the morning is to get up, get dressed, take my vehicle out, go to the nearest breakfast place, look at the menu, order, wait for him to pack, give it to me, and come back. These are my steps. My pains, getting out of the house early in the morning just to pick up some breakfast before even I start my day. The gain is saving me a lot of time in all this exercise. Now, translate them into how you can make revenue. So, customer job, as I mentioned, whatever I need to do in the morning, that became an app. Gain creators. Now, gain creators are basically, for me, I'm saving in a lot of time. I'm saving in going from my home to the restaurant, the fuel cost, and every bit of it. They become my gains, and they become the gain creators for the organization. So that's why they charge a delivery fee and a platform fee and etc, etc, etc. So they translate each of my gain into a revenue stream, which becomes a gain creator for them. And what are the pains for me? The most important painful thing is getting up and going. I am relieved of that pain. The key, most important aspect is the pain of getting ready in the morning, going and getting my breakfast. Now that's all gone away. Now you understand how you look at the value proposition canvas. You can break it into these three components. The right side is the consumer side, left side is your product side, and what your idea side is, and then look at it. In this way, if you can break it down, you can identify your value proposition much more easier. The second way, I should have come here. So the illustration of what I just mentioned is here. What are my gain creators and what are my pain relievers? So food delivery fees is my gain. Restaurant onboarding fees is a business model I can charge. Pain relievers, choice of restaurants I'm getting, time to go and bring food. Now they have Instamart and they have Cargo, so you can look at them. Delivery fees, again, choice of items, they have their own self-warehouse, they need not go to a shop and buy. These are all the gain creators for the organization. Pain relievers, delivery within 10-15 minutes, time to go and bring groceries is saved, and I have much more choices than getting stuck to what is available in the shop. Cargo is something what they came out a few years ago. Basically, if I want to send a parcel from here to some other place in the same city, earlier I used to take a courier service, or which takes 24 hours for a flat, or I used to go and do it myself. But now it happens in few minutes or few hours. They club the deliveries to save manpower charges. They can charge more than the deliveries but less than the courier charges. So that becomes a business model. For me, it is less than courier and much faster. That's the most important. So I need not wait to send a letter from here to my let's say chat accountant without fearing I know he will have it in the next 1-2 hours. So even if I go, it's the same time. So that's how you look at utilizing value proposition canvas. Jobs to be done canvas. This is, I don't know how many of you have heard, but this has been existing for quite some time, and I really like the approach what they take. It's the same as similar to value proposition canvas, but they have a different approach altogether. For example, if you look at their canvas itself, again, I will provide the link in the description. Please go ahead, download. It's free, so I'm not violating any rules of the road. It's free. You can download. I'm just showing you a snapshot for you to relate when you download to understand. So, job performer, aspirations, related jobs, and the target jobs, and that's what they start looking at. So when you complete the exercise, you get to what the target job is and how you are going to come out. They add few more things. So let's start with emotional and social aspects, outcomes, and job differentiator. Now, what are the emotional and social aspects? Let's take the same Swiggy example. I'm taking Swiggy example. Swiggy doesn't pay me any money to do these videos, or they're not sponsoring me. I'm just taking it as an example because most of us around the country have used Swiggy or Zomato, right? I don't use Zomato a lot, so I'm not using that word a lot, but otherwise both of them do the similar kind of things. But I'm using this as an example and nothing else. I'm not paid. I'm not representative of any of the organizations which I'm talking about. It's just an example which everyone who are viewing my video can relate to and understand it much more easier. So emotional and social aspect. Emotional part is that every morning I need not run to get my breakfast, or if I forgot something for groceries, I need not run to the shop. I can just place an order and it will be delivered home within minutes. The social aspects, I mean, in a Swiggy example, there's not much of a social aspect, but yes, one social aspect which does come to my mind is you might miss out on meeting people whom you know or seeing other people. You're just at home eating the food on your own or with your family, but if you want to catch up with a friend or, you know, bump into somebody, that completely goes away. So that's one downside which I want to put it in a social aspect. Now, outcomes of it is the pleasure of saving time in the morning and clubbing two tasks. Probably when I place the order before the food comes, I can get few more things done at home. So that becomes more easier. And job differentiator, this goes for the product. How are you different from your competition, and how dependent or how reliable you are? These are the things which come into the job differentiator. Now, the performer and the related job. Performer is the one who is basically performing the job. Now, what are the aspirations of the performer? What do you want to be the best in what you do? Those are the things which go into aspirations. And the related jobs are, what other things can I do? For example, again, going back to Swiggy, they started as a food delivery app, and today they have groceries. They have, they also deliver your in-city couriers or whatever. If you want to send something from your house to your friend's house, it can be done. So these are all the related jobs which they did not start. So for your idea, list down also the related jobs, what you might be able to solve over a period of time, if not today, in the first shot. So start with what is your core and start building, and then start identifying the related jobs. They all become a business model for you over a period of time. So that's how you use a jobs to be done canvas. If it's not rocket science. Once you download the PDF, it's a one-page document, and when you start thinking about it, you can get into more details. So this, I feel, is much better for me because I can start looking. As a simple example, I do these YouTube videos. I'm doing this 5 weeks to startup, and I keep talking about startup topics and related jobs. If I do see what else can I do, what else can I share on my videos, that becomes a huge list. I have a list. Probably one day I will just focus on how the channel came and what I do. But I'm going step by step, and I have a huge list of what I can do through my channel. But today I'm focusing on building the foundations of the channel, using sharing all the tips and tricks of how to get your idea on to hit to hit the road without breaking your head or without going to so many aspects of learning. Rather, make it a one-point learning station for you. The lean startup framework. Now, this is for people, again, probably I can relate myself. When we started Haplo, we started as a SaaS for commercial real estate, and we started building it. We started deploying it. We learned from how users are using, and then coming back and rebuilding the whole platform. So this is for entrepreneurs who wish to experiment with an idea, but and who are not confident if their approach is working or not. So for them, do a minimum viable product, start selling it or start sharing it with people, take their feedback, look at what is in your visibility or viability to do, and again build it and again do. So keep doing these iterations until unless you have the confidence that yes, this is the product I want to work with, right? So many of us start like that. That's not a problem at all. But you have other two tools also if you want to use. Otherwise, this is one thing what you can use. Even when you use the lean startup framework, using value proposition canvas or jobs to be done canvas makes a lot of sense, because it gives clarity to you in terms of how you get things done and how you build your product. The next part is communicating your value proposition. I've stressed on this enough. How easily can you communicate? A simple statement is powerful than an emotional one, right? Just letting people know what you do. For example, look at Slack. It says, be more productive at work with less effort. It gives you an intricate mind. Hey, how does this reduce? Why can't I use Teams itself? Why can't I use Google Hangouts itself? So people have that inquisitiveness and then go and try Slack. And once they try Slack, there are many organizations which moved away from Teams and they only focus on Slack today. So Airbnb, be anywhere, right? Or belong anywhere or be anywhere, whatever it is, anywhere in the world. Open my app, find a place to stay according to your budget, go and enjoy. So that becomes a communication aspect. Trello helps team move forward. There are a lot of other competition. Asana is there, Trello is there, Notion is there. There are a lot of project management tools, but out of which Trello stands out because they say we help teams move forward. And if you look at the other people's communication, they say we are the A to Z of project management or product management, which pretty much everybody does. So you have to be different in terms of your communication when you're competing with a lot of people. Ola, the Indian equivalent of Uber. Ola is the Spanish word for hello, as we know, but their communication is let's go out. Simple. When you go out, you need your vehicle. When you need your vehicle, call us. That's how they're communicating. Swiggy, fastest food delivery in your city. That's what they claim themselves, right? So these are few companies which differentiate in terms of how they communicate their value proposition to the end user. Should the value proposition be a number, be a meaningful statement or whatever? There are a lot of products which don't have marketing, which don't have any taglines, but they do amazing sales, right? It goes through word of mouth. The best example I can give is the local food manufacturing or catering businesses. They don't advertise or anything. It always runs through word of mouth, and they don't even communicate anything. They just come, deliver the food and go. But the taste is amazing, so you tell somebody else. So value proposition and the communication does not mean numbers, but how you can emotionally connect to your ideal customer. That's what communication is. That's what value proposition is. Moving along, the market research part. I hope the value proposition, the three tools you can use to derive the value proposition made a lot of sense, and you can use them. If you still have questions, you can join the Discord group what I have for asking questions, or you can send me an email, or you can set up some time with me. And I also do first time entrepreneur coaching, which is on the website. Look at it. that will be a personalized coaching for you in terms of how you bring your idea to the reality. So that's a 6-week session. I do 6 weeks personal one-on-one sessions. I walk you through the exercises. I walk you through the business plan, and end of the day, after the 6 weeks, you will have your business plan and model ready for you to start working on your idea, or the idea takes its wings, what we call. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate. Go ahead, look at our website, navaka.studio. I have first-time entrepreneur coaching there. We've given what happens in each week and register through that. Or you want to have a question, there's a Discord group which is created. So go ahead, click there, join the group and ask me questions and we'll answer there. If you want a personalized coaching session, don't even hesitate to go ahead and set up some time with me using the calendar link below. And last but not the least, please do subscribe and share my channel information with your friends and family who are interested in looking at technology, at understanding technology and how to get things done. As I just began 2 months ago, I'm focusing on complete foundations of entrepreneurship, but I have a lot of more interesting concepts which I would like to share, which will be coming over a period of time. Now, coming back to market research, people don't think what they feel, don't say what they think, and they don't do what they say, right? So for any organization, getting a solid market research done is the most important aspect. Now, the market research needs to get into the roots and connect from an emotional and a practical standpoint, because the statement itself reads, right? They don't think what they feel, they don't say what they think, and they don't do what they say. So that every human being, each of us is like this. Now we have to capture these 3 points somewhere and make use of that information for our product or service. So how do you get there? There are 3 aspects of market research. It's called the primary, secondary, and the tertiary, right? The primary research focuses on surveys, questionnaires, user interviews, focus groups, anything which is in your vicinity. Send out some forms, ask people to fill those forms, capture the information. See, my one suggestion is, whenever you're doing market research, don't let people write answers, because as the saying said, they're not writing what they're thinking. So we might not get the optimal outcome of that particular question what you're asking. So instead, make it multiple choice or a choice. If you ask me, the quality of the question should be in such a way that the answer should be Boolean, yes or no. So don't give multiple choice options, give single choice options. What happens with this is, you get clarity of your idea. You know what you're asking your end customer, and for the customer also, they're doing you a favor, they're not getting paid for it, right? It becomes more easier to just choose options rather than writing or giving multiple choice questions, which makes them think a lot. The moment you start, or rather stop making people think, that's the time you start getting better results from your research or outcomes of your surveys or whatever. What I mean by this is, if a survey form comes to me, there are many times a lot of surveys which come to me. I open the survey. Now, if they start with a half-page question and give me an option to answer, I'm closing the survey. Rather, if they ask me a simple question to start with, what kind of a backpack do you like? 2 options. What is one key feature in your backpack you require? 2 options. If the research can be so codified, it becomes easier. Then I get interested. All right, let me answer. I need not think a lot. Tuck, tuck, tuck. My emotions are coming. When an idea connects with an emotion, the sale happens, right? That's the most important aspect. You need to connect with the emotion, and to connect with an emotion, you can't ask people to write, or you can't share paragraphs to get some information out. So this is the most important aspect of connecting service. So that's the primary survey. Secondary survey happens with you and your team. You read the reports, look at market reports. I've shared some tools, Statista, things like that. You can go ahead, get the reports, understand how the market is, what they're doing, how they're doing, how these researches are already done, so you can use them. They are very strong sources of information for you, but they can be an add-on for your product, right? For your research, what you're doing. And last at tertiary, it's a put both these things together, match the research report or your conversations with a company or a journal or whatever it is. Match your research outcomes, your questionnaire sessions, whatever the outcome is coming, map them with that and see how you can utilize that information for your product or service. So all in all, that's for today in terms of understanding value proposition and looking at how you derive value proposition and how do you do market research. So I hope you enjoyed the session. Next week, we will focus on business modeling and creating hooks and stories and all these things. So stay tuned, do subscribe to the channel, and do share this channel with your friends and family who might be interested in looking at enhancing their understanding of ideation and its whole process. All right. Look forward. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.